bless you. I was so over today, and all the bullshit that came with it. I barely had enough time to stuff a sandwich into my mouth between all of the phone calls, emails, and unscheduled meetings we were receiving from frantic parents for the beginning of school. It's not like they or everyone at the main office hadn't been through the process many times before. I kicked off my shoes at the door, groaning as my cramped feet slipped out of the tiny heels I had been wearing all day and touched the cool wood floor. Miles, my overweight tabby cat, sauntered up to me, rubbing at the bottom of my pants, begging for some pets. "Did my big boy miss me?" I cooed as I bent over and scratched behind his ears, eliciting more headbutts to my open hand. I looked around my apartment that I rented by myself. It represented me well, calm and cozy with soft warm colors decorating most of the apartment. It was a perfect setting to be lazy all day, which is just how I like it. The papers I had sitting on my coffee table were scattered on the floor, along with a decorative wooden ball from the centerpiece of the table. I gave Miles the stink eye and went over to collect the items off the floor, placing them back where they were before. "Come on, you goober," I waved to Miles. "Let's make us some dinner." I made a simple pasta, having no desire to put much effort into my dinner, and gave Miles some food from the cat bag. I poured myself a glass of wine and settled into the couch. 2020 was on, and I quickly became engrossed in the story unfolding before me of a rape on a college campus. Nothing like coming home to watching a few entitled assholes being thrown in jail. I flipped through some of the papers I was supposed to review, switching my attention back and forth between the two tasks for a couple of hours. I heard a creak come from the back bedroom and looked behind me to find the tail end of Miles disappearing into my bedroom. A soft, almost distant meow floated down the hall and into the living room. Miles suddenly erupted into a slew of meows that were guttural and quick, like he does when he has a gift for me, before they turned into hisses. "Shut up!" I yelled, having a hard time hearing the TV over him. He ignored my request, and after a few moments I huffed, shuffling to my bedroom to see what he wanted. "What's your problem, dude?" I leaned down and patted his back, hoping to stop his distress, but with no avail. He sat in the corner of my room, staring towards my bed and the window next to it. I squinted, hoping a rat or no other creepy crawler was hanging out over there. I did a sweep of the rest of the room and found nothing that could possibly elicit such a strong reaction from my usually quiet cat. I shook my head and swept Miles up, taking him back to the living room with me, and forced him to watch the next episode of 2020. The episode had just ended, leaving me simmering in anger when a FaceTime call from my best friend Tara came in. Her and her daughter's faces popped up onto the phone screen, and their two large smiles had me smiling back. "Hi, my love," I waved at the 1-year-old as she tried to grab at the phone. She gave a laugh and tried for the phone again. "How was work today?" Tara asked after laying the baby down into the crib. "Hell, I swear parents are so worrisome for no reason. We had 3 parents show up today without a scheduled appointment, might I add, and proceeded to question if the handbook was done, so they would know what clothes they could buy for their kids and how the enlarged budget for sports was going to be used." Aw, don't you love working for schools? Such tranquility. We both laughed, knowing how hectic the beginning of school could be. "Did you see the news today?" "No," I answered honestly, taking another sip of wine. "They said a big storm was coming our way, so all types of critters are going to try and seek shelter from it. So make sure you close your windows tonight. Can you imagine waking up to a cockroach or a centipede chilling on your face? Nasty." Ew, I scrunched my face in disgust at that thought. Guess I'll have to get my fan out tonight. Hopefully I can find it. "It's definitely somewhere, you hoarder. What is Miles doing back there?" she asked, interrupting her line of thought with her eyes trained behind me towards my hallway. "I can see his shadow running back and forth in your room all crazy." "What do you mean? He's sitting right here next to me." I tipped the phone down, showing her the blob sitting in my lap. Oh, it's probably just the trees outside your window. The wind has already picked up bad. All the shit in our backyard is everywhere. I shook my head in disapproval, as if the wind was a child that was being scolded. I was about to ask how her day was when a loud wail sounded through the phone. Shit, I've gotta go. Emma's crying. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Love ya. She puckered her lips and gave an air kiss before hanging up. I sat there for a moment, the phone sitting firmly in my hand as I stared blankly at the TV. The hairs on my neck stood up, and Tara's statement creeped into my mind. I slowly turned my head, looking over my shoulder, and stared down the hall at my bedroom. There were shadows dancing on the floor, looking like they were coming from the inside of the room. I craned my head further to get a better look and saw the shadows resembled branches and leaves swaying in the wind. I sighed in relief, shaking my head for letting Tara freak me out. Although I loved living alone, I sometimes found my imagination running wild whenever I hear a creak or noise that is out of place. I turned up the volume on the TV again, not wanting my thoughts to wander, and switched to the local news channel. If the storm was bad enough, we may not be able to make it to work tomorrow. So sad. Todd, a local news reporter, stood in the middle of the dark street in a hoodie and rain boots. Good evening. As you can see, the morning clouds and drizzle have intensified over the course of the day, and are expected to bring in multiple inches of rain in the next few hours, and continue throughout tomorrow morning. We are expecting road and lane closures beginning tonight and the possibility of flooding. Temperatures are predicted to fall in the next few hours, with lows in the mid-40s and highs in the low 50s. As we continue to monitor this storm, we encourage all to use extreme caution when traveling. And remember, turn around, don't drown. Back to you, Claire. Did you hear that, Miles? Sounds like it's going to be a doozy tomorrow. I might not even make it to work. I walked back to the kitchen and sat my bowl in the sink. I grabbed a cookie from the jar and stared at the bottle of wine, contemplating if I should pour myself another glass. In other news, a recent string of break-ins has had the... I think I deserve another glass, if I do say so myself, I decided, grabbing another cookie and pouring myself another glass. It has been the 8th reported one in the last few months. Police are urging citizens to lock all windows and doors when away from... I stuffed the empty wine bottle into the trash and stuffed one of the cookies in my mouth when I heard a loud bang resonate from the back of my apartment. I jumped and grabbed my chest, my heart beating wildly as I tried to find the source of the noise. A loud clap of thunder shook the apartment, and a quick burst of lightning followed, causing the power to cut out and leaving the apartment shrouded in darkness. I walked to the back bathroom, peering in and finding the small plant I kept on the windowsill broken on the ground. Another strike of thunder and lightning came again, giving a quick illumination of the apartment. I cleaned up the mess as quickly as I could with the light of my phone and resumed my position back on the couch, watching the storm unfold outside. An unsettling whistle noise ripped through the house as the wind began to blow harder outside, making the whole setting more unsettling than usual. I finished my glass of wine and cookie and decided to call it a night in case the weather predictions were wrong and I had to go to work anyway. Miles followed me around as I cleaned up and did my nighttime routine in the bathroom before plopping down into his own bed in the living room. I slid into my bed, the sheets cool on my exposed skin. I settled back onto the pillow and looked out into the darkness. It looked as if most of the block lost power. Even the streetlights along the street were out, making the night devoid of any light. I could hear Miles as he used the litter box on the other side of the apartment, and listened to the beating of the rain on the window. I stared into the darkness, my imagination beginning to create shapes as I thought back to the report about the little creatures trying to get into the buildings to find safety. My eyes slowly grew heavy as the shapes of animals danced behind my eyelids. Just as I was falling asleep, a small sneeze built up in my nose and escaped suddenly. I sneezed once more before wiping my nose on my finger and closing my eyes again. From the dark corner of my room, slicing through the thick silence, came a low, gravelly voice in a harsh whisper. "Bless you.